Joining us now from New York City is Mark Beckman. He's a senior advisor to First Lady Melania Trump. He's the CEO of DMA United, which is a representative agency, does a lot of different things. And he's a producer of the film Melania, which many of you have seen. So we appreciate you coming on, Mr. Beckman. I wanted to know, under President Trump, Melania, the First Lady, has taken a lot of abuse for 5 years. And now she felt the need to go after Kimmel personally. Did you advise her to do that? Why did she do that?
Well, first of all, the First Lady really is in control. She drives her own ship. We collaborate at the top, but this was entirely her decision. And I think it's important to her because she realizes that we're living in a time period where simple rhetoric has, it becomes detrimental. It's creating a situation, Bill, over and over again, where the country is being divided and insane people are listening to this divisive rhetoric. And as a result, they're trying to kill people and they are killing people. So it's not just the 3 assassination attempts on her husband, the president of the United States, but look at Charlie Kirk. So we're living in a time period where words matter. And she wanted to come out and make her point, very clear that it's not okay.
Now, I know her a little bit, very methodical woman, not emotional in particular. Doesn't like the limelight, doesn't like to be the center of attention. So she chose this moment, and I was in the room, and I saw her, and she was much more affected by what was happening, in my opinion, than President Trump. I mean, she was just appalled by it. Did you get that feeling when you spoke with her?
I spoke with her that night. And I want to tell you, she was not frightened. She was very much in control. And in fact, was the first one, I think, in the room to realize what was happening. She went under the table, following the proper procedure. And from underneath, she was telling her peers on the table, including her husband, come on under. You got to duck. You got to duck. And then she got out. Fortunately, she was safe. She wasn't frightened, but she does understand, Bill, that being First Lady today, being First Lady, the wife of President Trump, comes with some inherent risk. Some violence is now connecting to our political ecosystem. She's aware of that. But mainly, Bill, what she told me is that she was so happy that not just her and her husband were safe, but everyone in the room was okay. They were all safe. And that was really what was important to her.
Okay, but the look on her face when I saw her was one of disdain. And then she transferred that quickly to Jimmy Kimmel. Now, you could go ladies of the View. You could go the senator from Connecticut, Murphy. You could go to a bunch of Congress people who are as hateful as Kimmel is.
Yeah.
But she locked in on him. Why?
Well, I think it's time for Kimmel to go. This is not an isolated incident. I don't understand why ABC gives him cover and the parent company, Disney. This hateful, violent political rhetoric has happened over and over and over again from Kimmel for months and months, and it's not okay. It's time to stop. ABC permits his point of view, this terrible rhetoric, to go into the homes of Americans across the country, into our living rooms across the country every single night. And there's no logic to it. He's not funny. His viewership is down. His ratings are down. And it's been publicly shared that his business model is failing. What I think, Bill, is that there's a problem with the entire Democrat ecosystem. They still monopolize culture, as I'm sure you would agree. They own entertainment, media, sports, government, politics, but they're all creating the same political divisive rhetoric over and over again. Fascism, Nazis, the anti-Semitism, they're spewing language our way. And the Wall Street Journal, Bill, just yesterday reported that for the first time, there's more violence, physical violence going from the left to the right now, from the left to the right. This trend has got to stop. Think about it, Bill. How did this teacher on the other side of the country become so cuckoo that he bought a small arsenal of weapons, got on a train, went transversed across the country, checked into the hotel with the specific goal of killing our president and members of the cabinet? He's hearing all of this over and over again, as so many people are. And we need to pay attention to it. And we need to think about ABC as well.
Well, ABC's profits are down, as you may know. Stock price is 96 approximately, and it's almost a 30% drop. And its ad revenue is down. It's down across the board, not just for Kimmel and The View, but just their products in general. They had that crazy movie, Snow White, the live thing. Big bomb, when you would think the opposite, because kids and all of that. So Disney is paying a fiscal price for this kind of display. But then the question becomes, why? Why are you doing that? You've been in the business, Mark, long enough to know companies want to make money. And if you're not making money for them, you're done. But I'm sorry to interrupt you, Bill, but I agree with you. Why are they hitching to this Democrat, I don't know.
this Democrat vile, right? And it just goes on and on and on. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make fiscal sense. However, Disney is an ardently left-wing company full of woke, as you know, probably, out in Burbank, California. They despise Donald Trump. But now his wife is in it, and it makes the whole thing more sensitive for women, American women, because they certainly can identify with their husband being shot at 3 times. And then Melania, that's why I think she did this, because she wanted to get this out there that this isn't the norm. It's not what we do in America here. Yet the cycle continues because of people like Kimmel. That's what I read into this whole thing.
Bill, think about this. So take your concept a little further. You're talking about the Democrat Party dehumanizing the Republicans, right? So what Melania Trump is saying is effectively, I am a mother, I am a wife, I am a daughter. All of my peers who are Republicans are the same. And we should not dehumanize these individuals, and we should not normalize this type of rhetoric and this type of violence. Enough is enough.
But it took her a real long time to get to enough. That, I think, is because of her personality, which is not confrontational. Would I be wrong?
Well, Bill, with all due respect, I want to tell you that if you go back in time and look at the book and all, shortly after the first assassination attempt, she was very vocal about it. And she spoke about this negative rhetoric. At the time, remember, Biden and members of his administration were maligning President Trump over and over and over again. And it was that negative rhetoric that I think for the first time caught her attention. And she was vocal about it.
Okay, but this is the first time that she's actually called for a specific person to be punished, which is Kimmel. Do you believe Disney is going to respond to this or ignore it?
I say no, and I think it's because of what you stated. They're just a woke left organization with a political agenda. I don't know why. They should be thinking about the entire country, left and right. We like to be entertained. There doesn't need to be an ideology attached to it.
So you don't think that Disney will take any action against Kimmel at all?
I'd be shocked. They're going to hide behind the First Amendment. And I think it's a commercial issue here, Bill. And I think we should also look at the advertisers. I can't believe I'm saying this because I was against the whole cancellation moment in time during Me Too. But look at the companies that are advertising. Why do they want to be affiliated with someone like Kimmel? It makes no sense.
Well, it's true. I'm not a boycotter either. But people should notice, because if they are angry about it and have had enough, then that's a way to punish Disney, is to tell the sponsors that we're not going to buy your stuff because we don't believe in the product you're sponsoring. Very simple equation. But millions of Americans would have to take time to do that, and I don't know if they will.
Unfortunately, I agree.
Now,
I agree.
One further thing about Melania Trump. I always got the sense that being a first lady, I mean, she knows it's, and you can see it today with the British royal family. She knows how to make people comfortable. She's very good at the job. But I never felt that she loved the job. You know, there's certain first ladies in history just couldn't get enough of being first lady. Jill Biden is the poster girl for that. Jill Biden, you had to drag her out of that house, that White House. Okay. I never got the feeling that Melania Trump was all that thrilled about all of this. There's danger, there's pomp, there's circumstance, there's stress, there's on and on. Would I be wrong in saying that?
Bill, she's very proud to be First Lady of the United States. And if you look at what she put herself out to do in March alone, I'm sure you and your viewers will agree. She's the first lady in history of the United Nations to address the Security Council when America took the presidency. Her famous speech now spoke about peace through education, tolerance through wisdom. Later on in the month, she assembled almost 50 nations in the State Department with some of the best American tech companies to launch her Fostering the Future Together global coalition. There were companies that came out, including Meta, Google, Adobe, Palantir, X, all of the best companies. And on the next day in the White House, she was the first lady to have so many nations join a first lady for diplomacy purposes ever before in history. This was the day where she brought out the humanoid. And it was further with the mission. It was to further her mission of empowering children through technology and education. This first lady, Bill, has had so many achievements, but the people aren't looking at it. Think about it. 4 reunifications between Ukrainian and Russian children and families. She's set up a network for foster care kids across the nation now that's in 33% of the states. She's not an elected official. She does not have to do any of this, yet she keeps building and building and building. In fact, today, Fostering the Future Together stood up with some of the presidential AI state champions that she led at the White House Tennis Pavilion, which she built during 45. And the Queen participated in this cross-cultural educational platform in both VR and AI. People need to know more about what our First Lady is doing.
She doesn't get a lot of coverage, that's for sure, on that, because the companies are almost fearful of hating her. I mean, they'll go after her, but they don't want to hate her like they are with the president. So, Mark, we really appreciate your time. Thanks very much, and I hope we can talk again soon.
Oh, it's such an honor, Bill. Congratulations with you and all your success. And truly, I'm so grateful to be here with you today.
Anytime, Mark.